This is The Story of Our Flag by McCrory Studios. Publication date 1939. Note that. That is pretty old. That's pre-World War II, so this is going to be interesting. So let's jump in, right? Knowledge Builders presents The Story of Our Flag, a documentary sound film. That's funny. That's funny that they specify sound film, but Knowledge Builders, I wonder what that is. I wonder if we'll see McCrory Studios mentioned at all. Whoa, hang on a second. Whoa, there's another secret flag. I don't know what this means. I don't know if this was an accident, but that is hilarious that it's in here. And it just, I don't recognize this flag immediately either. It looks like it could be a heraldic flag or something. That's a little Easter egg, I guess.
The flag of the United States of America, your flag and mine, is symbolic of a living country and governed.
And I feel like even this voice is so like American. Like this just recalls, I guess, 1939 America. It's just funny that this sounding voice is so identifiable now. I don't know. I know everyone's going to say the transatlantic accent, but it's like, I feel like it's more than that.
Of, by, and for the people. The history...
Hang on. If it's 1939, this flag should have 48 stars. I'm not going to count them, but can somebody count them? It looks like it does because all of them are square. It looks like a 48
of
star
our
flag.
still young and growing nation, it is that in this troubled world, there is still a bright spot where borders never change, where peace, the United States of America...
That's going to seem like I cut it, but that cut was in the original file.
In greatness...
I'm loving this map animation, though. And I love how USA, it doesn't have Alaska highlighted either. Because it literally didn't. I mean, it wasn't a state, but I don't know if it was U.S. territory. It might have been U.S. territory.
Our founding fathers sought words to describe the future nation, and the flag which typifies it. In the famous preamble to the Constitution, the words, "We the people," signify the chain of unity, which now welds our vast empire of 48 separate states.
You know, I'm glad to see that at least some things haven't changed, like "we the people." I feel like people use that as much today as they did back then.
King James VI united these two early English flags, the Cross of St. Andrews and the Cross of...
Oh man, we're getting into some real map history now. Is this all an explanation behind the American flag, or are we just talking about flags in general?
St. George into one emblem. This new flag became the famous Union Jack, or King's colors, onto which were made the first settlements in the New World during the reign of James VI.
It really suffers from not being in color. I know obviously they couldn't have helped that, but it's hard to get the point of these flags across when there's no, like, you know, colors.
There were many other forerunners of the stars.
Oh man, look at these other flags. Hang on, colonial flags. Oh man, this Liberty moon flag, that's pretty cool. I've never seen that. This like arm with a dagger flag. This tree flag. Does anyone, oh, the "Don't Tread on Me" snake flag? I feel like it doesn't have the text or anything, but what is this tree flag? Has anyone ever seen these before? Is there like a higher resolution of these I could find anywhere, these colonial flags? This one in the middle too, it's like a cross, but and then this one with the anchor and the stars, with the banner saying hope. What a bizarre collection of flags. I kind of want to see what they look like with color still.
First, the Union Jack, or King's colors. Then the meteor, or red ensign flag. The Taunton flag was the meteor flag bearing the word liberty.
Yeah, what a creative concept. Good design. Liberty.
The Bedford flag used at Concord on April 19th, 1775.
Oh, this one's sick, though. This is a cool flag. We should have kept this. Vince out... I can't read it. Mirror. This is definitely recognizable. I think everyone would be able to tell whose flag this is.
This is the Moultrie flag, a crescent in a blue field bearing the word liberty.
What a bizarre flag. Like, before America's, like, iconography was settled, it's just funny that liberty was, like, the main phrase, I guess, and moons were, for some reason, associated. I guess it's not in America. I guess this is, like, colonial times, before even America.
The Bunker Hill flag, one of the pine tree flags.
Bunker Hill, that's so funny. Yeah, this is the one that was pretty much invisible before, but it's just a big, again, it's hard to see because it's black and white, but I feel like this would be red and this would be white with a red cross and a green tree. But what an interesting flag. I wonder if there's even one of these in existence today.
Flag, one of the pine tree flags. The pine tree flag used by the Continental Navy.
Oh, wow. So we can get an up-close look. An appeal to heaven with a pine tree flag. I like this. This is balancing out, like, don't tread on me, you know? Like, if you have both of these, an appeal to heaven. I don't know. It's just a tree. I'm going to look up after this if they have flags like this. What color would it be? I feel like it would be yellow still. It might be blue.
The famous rattlesnake flag with the warning, don't tread on me.
Yeah, wow, this one is the very next one. So yeah, they are like, wow, that's amazing to see this and that other one. So what was the phrase? An appeal to heaven. That's so crazy how that's like the early American flag history is just like a symbol with a phrase.
Warning, don't tread on me.
An appeal to heaven, don't tread on me, rattlesnake.
The Rhode Island flag, the earliest use of 13 stars in a blue field.
Wow, that's funny. Rhode Island flag. This is cool. See, why doesn't Rhode Island have this flag?
And the Cambridge or Grand Union flag. The alternate stripes indicated a dissension from the King's rule. But the Union Jack also indicated a feeling of...
The Cambridge flag. I feel like this is like an iconic design. You know, this is like the evolutionary point between the British Union Jack and the American flag. This is part of the lineage, the evolutionary history of it. Wow. You know, this is interesting. I picked this because I didn't think this was going to be very interesting. I thought this was going to be very cut and dry, but just having these images is a lot of fun.
Loyalty to the mother country. A definite break had no...
Again, I wish they were in color. That would make it a lot more fun, but it's fine. It's cool to see it, you know, this early too. Even this font, you know, like they wouldn't use that font later on. It looks like it's like hand drawn on like a card based on a font though.
Not yet been made. When General Washington heard that the Declaration of Independence had been signed,
oh, I love this reenactment. This is like a silent film reenactment.
He ordered the Grand Union flag flown for this occasion.
That hard cut.
Congress adopts the Stars and Stripes.
1777, Congress adopts the Stars and Stripes.
A facsimile of the original resolution passed by the Continental Congress June 14, 1777, adopting the flag of the United States.
All right, so this is like what people always refer to when they talk about the flag, right? Is how it was originally described in the Constitution. Because apparently you can design the flag any which way based on however it was laid out in this written text.
This resolution was proposed by John Adams, later a president of the United States.
Resolved that the flag of the United States be 13 stripes, alternate red and white, that the Union be 13 stars, white in a blue field, representing a new constellation.
A significant part of this resolution is the words, 13 stars, white in a blue field, representing a new constellation. It is in these words that we find the very soul and spirit of the American flag. This resolution of adoption did not prescribe how the stars were to be arranged.
Well, you know what? That's kind of funny that they are in a circle, and that's like the same design that Europe now uses for its flag.
As a result, in the beginning, they were arranged in a circle to symbolize the hope that the Union would be without end. The Stars and Stripes was the flag of the states, which was carried through the battles of...
You know, honestly, I feel like this was an instant classic. Or maybe it's because I'm so familiar with the American flag, but there seems like something recognizable about this. It's crazy how, like, yeah, the whole time this country has existed, like, pretty much the same concept for a flag has been in place, too. Like, that is, like, the flag is almost a foundational like aspect of like American iconography to like no other degree. I feel like for any other country, you know, it has that same like from the founding moment of its existence, it had this flag. I mean, I guess other countries have much longer flag histories, but the U.S. has just stayed unchanged for so long. I guess it has changed so many times, but also unchanged.
Battles of the Revolution, and which inspired our soldiers in their long fight for freedom.
These are fun reenactments. These are hard to pull off in film, so it must have been really difficult. When was this? 1939? Yeah, this is a very big production. I wonder if this is like stock footage that like they purchased to use in this, or if this was like recorded, this battle footage was recorded for this program itself. I wonder. Because that would mean this was like a really big production rather than like a pretty, quick cut and dry, like informational. I don't know if this was like very expensive for its time or kind of like a YouTube video of its time.
The surrender of Cornwallis at Yorktown. This marked the beginning of the United States.
Dude, I know how to do that 3D effect. I don't even need to open After Effects. That can be done in Premiere.
States as a free nation. The Stars and Stripes had won its first significant victory. It could now take its place among the flags of the world. In 1791 and 92, Vermont and Kentucky were admitted to the Union. The representative...
Dang, that's crazy. I never really thought about the next states to be admitted after the original 13. So Vermont is kind of a funny one because I guess it was just its own thing for a little second. But then Kentucky, it's just funny to think that Kentucky is like the first like next one. I guess it makes sense. I guess the next was probably Ohio, wasn't it? You don't think of Kentucky as like being like senior to like all the other states besides the originals,
The representatives of these two states wanted recognition in the flag. So on January 13th, 1794, Congress enacted a law giving us the flag with 15 stars and 15 stripes. This was the flag of the United States for more than 20 years, until 1818.
So I have a feeling now this is just going to turn into a history lesson of the U.S. rather than the flag, right? Like, it's just going to tell us every single time the flag changed, which really means it's just going to tell us about every single time a new state was admitted to the Union. We were 4 minutes in, we got 6 minutes left, so I think they might be able to do it.
1803, the Louisiana Purchase marked the start of our nation's westward growth beyond the Mississippi. Nearly 1 million square miles purchased.
1803. So this was still like a long time ago, even for when this was recorded, right? Yeah, like that was still like ancient history to them. Not ancient, but it was like not within their lifetime when they were recording this. Like even this was a historical event to them, the people who recorded this. Look, the Gulf of Mexico.
From France for $15 million or 4 cents an acre. This territory.
It's so funny that a little bit of, what is this, Minnesota? Yeah, Minnesota is just left out.
Territory later added 13 stars to the flag. 1818, the Union had increased to 20 states. Ohio, Indiana, Tennessee, Mississippi, and Louisiana were given recognition in an act passed by Congress.
Dude, these are such funny animations because you can just do this still. And like, this is the simplest form, but I like to see that it was being done like this even back then. The way the layer falls down onto the right place, like they were clearly two different layers. Now you would edit that, in two different, layered files, I guess, or whatever. But then it was like literally two plates of film or glass that you would just put on top of each other to film.
This act returned the number of stripes.
However they did this, that's why I find so fascinating, is that I do so much animation today, but then so much of the animation of the past had like nothing to do with the tools that I use now.
To the original 13, and decreed that thereafter a star should be added to the blue field for each new state admitted.
No way we had this flag for a minute. That would have been really funny to have kept. The star made out of stars. No way, right? Like there must have been alternates.
The essence of the act was every star a state, every state a star.
I like that. That's funny. Every star a state, every state a star. See? That, we could have kept this. I wouldn't have minded.
As early as 1832, the idea of a railroad line spanning the nation was conceived. At that time, there were only 140 miles of track in the entire country.
140 miles of track. So that's pretty much just like New York to like DC or something,
Building West.
I like the musical cue for Building Westward. Like even in 1939, like banjo music was like the hillbilly westward mountain person sort of instrument.
1849, the discovery of gold in California. This exciting news spread rapidly and soon started vast caravans of pioneers westward in search of wealth and adventure.
This is also stock footage or reenactments, right? This isn't like real footage, or is it? Because that would be wild to see like the pioneers on their wagons crossing the country. This could be real footage. It looks real is the thing. Like there's no way, this looks so hard to fake, but like at the same time, it's like, did they have cameras back then to be filming all this? I guess this was, what year did it say? 1849. They had cameras by the Civil War, which is 1860. I guess they could have filmed this. This could have been filmed later and they could just be saying it's like 1849, you know? I don't know. See, again, is this real or is it like reenacted or something? I don't know.
These were truly the empire builders.
It looks so real. I think it's real. I'm gonna believe it's real. I don't think it's real, but I believe it's real. How about that? If this is real, this is insane though. I'd like look at all these people. Like this would be nuts to be. Did people really move like that? See, that's the thing. Did people actually do this? Like move in a one long caravan on a road? I know I avoid saying it, but that is crazy. That is absolutely, it's so wild to imagine because America is, I guess, just such a different place now. But I guess, you know, moving across long spans of area was an American thing from the very beginning. I still don't know if this is real or not, but if this is real, even if it's not, honestly, this is a lot of people, even if it's not real. So it's impressive no matter what.
1862, Congress had approved the plan for a railroad line from Omaha to San Francisco. The construction of this line was marked with many hardships. The Indians quickly realized that the railroad was a pathway by...
Dang, they just, straight up called them the Indians. You know, I feel like that's what they did back then. That wasn't even unacceptable, you know, that was pretty normal. But it's funny to hear it, like, just so casually. Again, this is more wild footage. I'm still trying to figure out if this is all real or not. It feels real. I really want it to be real. Like, I'm not saying it's not real. I just don't know if this is like, if these are reenactors and they filmed this so it would look like, you know, the right times and I'm just being tricked by like the old-timey footage, or if this is actually like old-timey
by which
footage.
land-hungry settlers would soon be arriving.
I don't think that guy was real. Hang on. That might be a hint right there. That's so funny. The very next frame was this guy's face. Like, you guys be the judge. Tell me if this guy looks like the sort of guy who would be wearing this sort of hat. I'm sticking with my original statement. I believe it's real. I believe it's all real.
Arriving. It would end their happy hunting ground. They attacked the construction crews at various points along the line.
No, this can't be real, actually. They're gonna film the attack? No, this must be a reenactment now. No, oh, no. Yeah, okay, so this is definitely like a dramatization of this, for sure. All right, like they didn't have multiple cameras set up for this actual encounter, so no way. It almost got me, but no. It's still a really good reenactment. See, that's the amazing thing about these old films is like, look how many people are involved in all these shots. Like they got so many like extras. They got so many just like real people to be involved in it. And it shows, it feels like it's an actual historical event seeing it, even though it's just people on a hill, you know?
Surely it became necessary for organized force to maintain constant vigilance, to stop these attacks and protect the crews so that the work might progress in an orderly fashion. At long last, these empire builders had...
Wow, I feel like that map transition kind of glazed over a lot. It went from being like Louisiana Purchase to like all of the rest of the continent.
made it possible to cross the country by rail. The continent was linked from coast to coast. The westward sweep of empire carried with it a wave of new states.
This is such a funny situation, though, that it was like all these states except for Arizona and New Mexico. Like, as if they wouldn't have eventually become states. Like, it must have been such a funny era when anyone who was interested in geography, the geography community would have been like, when are these going to become states? Like, everyone must have been, you know, egging them on, waiting for them to, because, it, you know, it must have been so obvious even to them that they would eventually become states. That's funny, though, that they were singled out still at this period. What time is it? 1939? Wasn't it like 48 or something that Arizona, they're not included in this.
More stars for the flag. By 1912, our nation consisted of 46 states. Then, Arizona and New Mexico added.
Oh, I keep getting tripped up because I keep thinking that the time period it's talking about is the time period it's set in. So New Mexico was 1912.
To give us our present 48 states.
And so was Arizona, so they were both 1912. Whoa, hang on a second. Wait a second. There's some weird borders going on here. So just look at, what is this, Utah? Look at the Utah's little, like, piece into Nevada. Or look at, like, New Mexico's little, like, finger touching Oklahoma's panhandle. There's a little weird border things going on. Dude, I love how we just listened to, like, music for, like, 10 seconds with the map with nothing else happening. I wish I could do that in my videos. Just show a map with nothing for 10 seconds.
The parade of the states and stars was now complete.
How confidently he just said that. The parade of the states and stars is now complete. All right, so yeah, how confident. He thought that, like, all right, 48, yeah, we're gonna call it there. Again, I love how I just listened to like 10, maybe 15 straight seconds of like the most patriotic music with nothing on screen but a waving flag. Some really quality editing skills, right? Showing it right here.
On May 30th, 1916, President Wilson...
Hang on, June 14th officially established as Flag Day. Is that still true?
...established June 14th of each year as Flag Day. The culmination of more...
What did it... Like, so they were doing dumb holidays even back then. That's funny.
More than a quarter of...
Like, Flag Day? Like, come on. What does that even mean?
More than a quarter of century of effort to engender interest in the observance of Flag Day.
That's funny. This guy... who is this? Is this Woodrow Wilson? Is he the flag guy?
Wilson established June 14th
yeah, Wilson.
Of each year as...
Wow, I recognized Wilson based on what he looked like. That's pretty impressive. I'm not gonna lie. I guess I could have been listening too, but I wasn't. So he was a flag guy. That's so funny.
150 years of progress.
Dang, 150 years of progress. So this was 1939. Yeah, that's almost like 100 years old. That's like 80 or 90 years old. Like this whole program is 80 or 90 years old. That's crazy because we've since had the 200th centennial and more. This is very old. This is a very old piece of documentary film. Like, it's amazing that we had this form of content for so long, you know? Like, this is no different than the animated YouTube videos of today. Really, like, there's no functional difference. Like, it's the same form of information. It's the same, like, visual collection. It's maps, it's animated maps, it's footage. This is the same formula that Atlas Pro and many other geography YouTubers abide by to this day. And it existed all the way back then in 1839. Like, this is a CGP grade video in the making, isn't it?
A small constellation of stars representing states which started east of the Mississippi has been joined by a galaxy of stars in the west, forming a complete constellation whose brilliance is reflected around the entire world.
It looks like they fixed up their map borders on this one. I was curious about that Utah one for a second. It's so funny that they don't even think that Alaska is going to be a state or Hawaii. They're leaving so much space as if like they are expecting it, but they're not saying it. It's like, yep, that's all. We're not expecting anything else.
And today, from 13 struggling colonies, the vast American empire extends.
Now here we go. This might be the final extension.
On the east and the Panama Canal Zone on the south to Alaska on the north. And
oh, okay, but this is really good. All right, I like this map a lot. So we were already aware that we were going to probably continue adding states, right? We have this arrow to Alaska, like, yeah, probably going to add Alaska. Then we have this arrow to the Virgin Islands, like, we're probably going to make those a state, is the assumption there, just based on this arrow, right? This arrow to the Canal Zone, which at this time, the United States did control as well. So we thought that maybe that would become just an actual U.S. state. And then we have an arrow pointing to Hawaii, which obviously that did too. Then all this way over here, we have the Philippine Islands, we have Guam, we have Samoa, and we can see how that's actually amazing how we expected there to be a lot more states, like even more than the ones we had. It's just, I guess we expected to continue expanding. And it's even here they thought that that would happen. We could add some, like Guam, I guess, could be added, or Puerto Rico. I don't know why there's no arrow for Puerto Rico, but this is just, it's wild to see that at some point we did expect all of these to become states, or at least they were in contention for becoming states. I feel like no one's talking about Samoa becoming a state, let alone the Philippine Islands or the Canal Zone. Or maybe not the Canal Zone, actually.
Westward, across the Pacific, to the Philippines. Friendly relations.
Dude, what would it have been like if the Philippines was a U.S. state? Like, that future makes absolutely no sense to me.
Exist with the Dominion of Canada, still under the Union Jack of England. Nowhere else.
Friendly relations exist with the Dominion of Canada. Okay.
Under the Union Jack of England. Nowhere else in the world is there 3,000 miles of border which needs no fortifications or soldiers to guard it. It is necessary only as a matter of precaution for us to maintain a powerful Navy, Army, and Air Force for the protection of our people and the prize.
This is some sick B-roll, though. Obviously, this is not a reenactment. These are real ships, but I wonder if this is just, again, more like stock footage B-roll that they like bought to make this a compilation, because that is kind of what it feels like. I doubt that like some producer got the money for the story of our flag to fly out into the military for them to do this, maneuver so that they could get this footage. I think they just bought this footage from some, footage distribution. I'm curious. I'm curious how this was even put together.
Possessions beyond the sea. The eyes of the world are on the United States of America today. We, as a nation, must exhibit to the world the proud fact that a government founded on the priceless liberties guaranteed by our Constitution, which came into being more than 150 years ago.
Dude, that was an intimidating shot right there. All those planes in the sky, that is actually, like, terrifying. I guess I've never seen that many aerial vehicles in one place before. Not even like a drone show, I guess. They are, like, not advanced planes, though. That is, like, again, part of the wild thing about watching these old programs is like these are like biplanes, right? Like they're single prop biplanes.
Is still a splendid example for all other nations to follow.
Like not exactly the best show of force nowadays, but definitely impressive. This would scare the heck out of me even back then, right? They don't even have aircraft carriers. Those are battleships down there. And then this must be like off the coast somewhere that they're filming to be able to fly all of these information like that. Or maybe not. I don't know. I guess they might have had an aircraft carrier. This seems like a lot to be flying out of one aircraft carrier, though. It feels weird to have an aircraft carrier and this be the airplanes, too. I feel like you only have an aircraft carrier if you have much more advanced planes. Yeah, this, it's actually amazing that people got to witness a period before flight was like mechanically possible and after. Obviously birds can fly, but like it would have been amazing to see planes for the first time. Like that's what I feel like when I'm watching this. It's like probably all the people who were, even the guy filming this was probably the first time they saw planes fly in formation like this. Maybe not, but like this is definitely someone's first time seeing planes fly like this. And it's honestly still my first time seeing planes fly like this.
All hail the flag of the United States of America.
What a weird phrase to end this whole program with, all hail. I mean, I guess it's 1939, so, all hail the U.S. flag, I guess. Long may it wave. So that was pretty interesting. I'd like to see how the flag changed, from time to time as the U.S. grew. Pretty much exactly what I expected it to be, not gonna lie, but still interesting nonetheless. I think there is a lot of interesting history there. I feel like there's as much history, if not more history in the U.S. flag than there is in like many other flags. Obviously there is a specific historical moment or, historical person behind a lot of flags, but the U.S. flag, has changed over its whole history. So I think there's I guess more to unpack in the whole flag of itself. So I guess it is interesting. This is a 10-minute video, so this is pretty much the same exact length of any YouTube video you ever watch about the US flag anyway, and it contains all the same information and pretty much better visuals, honestly. Like half of these visuals were so much better than any stock footage that's around nowadays. Like these army shots and everything. Yeah, this is, again, if you wanted to learn about the flag, this is the perfect way to do so. Viewing this sort of stuff, I feel like, is so valuable still, because this is YouTube video quality that's been made 100 years ago almost. And I think I enjoyed it. I think I understand the story of our flag now, and I hope everyone watching does as well. So we're just gonna cut to black.